Hey! I'm glad you were able to make it! I know you said you'd act in the haunted house when I asked you in class, but I wasn't sure you would come through. A bunch of people signed up to help with construction, but only a few of them showed up. I should have expected as much considering it's volunteer work. You're aware that all of the profit from the house will end up going to a charitable cause, right? Good. I wanted to make sure you didn't have any expectation of getting paid for your services. So, why did you agree to help us in the first place? Really? Because I asked you? If I asked you to jump off a bridge, would you do that as well? What do you mean, for the right incentive? Anyway, we've already finished most of the construction. Now we are focused on finding some decent scare actors. And that's where you come in. Follow me to the side entrance, and I'll show you what we've got so far. We aren't actually using our real house, since this is a public event. My roomies and I agree that using the backyard would be better, since it's actually more spacious than the house. Since the side path to the backyard is connected directly to the street, we figured it would be our main entrance. Okay, so this is the area where the ticket queue will be. We plan on setting up some barrels of hay here, and our ticket counter will be next to the entrance gate. We will also have some booths here staffed by local artisans. My friend's mom makes her own cider, so we offered her a place to sell drinks. We've even got alcoholic beverages for anyone of age. It seems appropriate since this haunted house is intended for university students. Even though it's an off-campus event, we are still less than a block away from the dorms, so we're expecting a lot of traffic on opening night. Now, this wasn't my idea, but we actually decided to split the event into two attractions. One of my roommates is into marketing and theme park design, so she suggested this idea. According to her, there are several logistical benefits to having two houses, but she's more fixated on the financial perks. Since people will want to see both houses, they will pay a little extra for a combo deal and get to go back in line after seeing their first house. If they didn't buy anything the first time around, they'll have another chance while waiting for the second house. Everything we make goes to a good cause, so it's not like we're getting rich off my friend's scheming. Since my friend's got the business aspects covered, I was nominated to serve as the thematic director. That basically means I make all the costume and prop choices. So, can you guess which themes I chose? No, you dolt. Not vampires and werewolves. Did you forget that I'm a Lit major? The first is Cthulhu's Lair, a H.P. Lovecraft themed house. The other is Nevermore, based on the work of Edgar Allan Poe. Yes, I agree. Rather clever choices indeed. But it's not like we have an endless budget, so we couldn't get anything too fancy. We actually took out a small loan to cover some of the expenses. Here, I have the final draft of our design saved on my phone. Take a look. These are the floor plans for both houses. Lair is on the right, and Nevermore is to the left. Each house has a wooden frame, which is broken up into modules or rooms. Lair is actually based on the Mountains of Madness, which I'm assuming you've read. The first setting is Antarctic caverns, so we used air conditioners to make it feel much colder, and set up fans to simulate the harsh winds. There's a few actors in this area who will be dressed as injured members of the expedition. They'll pop out and warn people to go back before it's too late. There's a hidden button at each actor station, which they can use to trigger different effects based on the situation. You can see that each effect is labeled with a different symbol. We have strobe lights, compressed air cannons, speaker systems, animatronics, lasers, and fog machines. My hacker friend wrote the program that automates the timing for all of the non-actor related effects. Apparently, these are all triggered by a bunch of different sensors she set up throughout both houses. She ate through a big portion of our budget with her fancy Arduinos, pressure sensors, and infrared cameras, but it turned out to be worth it. We tried offering to build her a makeshift control room, but she set it all up on her phone so she doesn't have to bother getting out of bed. Typical. Next, we have some rooms with the preserved Elder Ones, which are those starfish-headed monsters from the book. There's 8 of them spread throughout these rooms, each hanging upside down like bats. We couldn't position any actors like that, so we used animatronics to make their wings and heads move. After the caverns comes the tent scene, which is hidden from a view by a canvas flap. We have some prosthetic cadavers placed on the dissection tables mixed in with some real actors for a nice jump scare. We used some dim LEDs that looked like flickering gas lanterns to get the mood just right. After exiting the tent, the customers will enter the ruins of the Elder One's city. This basically just looks like an ancient temple with some alien artifacts. Our actors in this area are dressed as those demented penguins, which scare the heck out of me. The light gets dimmer with each room, so that the actors dressed as the Elder Ones are more difficult to spot as time goes on. The last room is totally dark. We rigged lasers and a projector to make it appear as if a huge monster is surrounding the customers. Just like the scene from the book. Actors are hidden behind these walls. There are hidden gaps where they can reach through with some plastic tentacles, which makes it appear as if the walls are moving. Nevermore is more of a traditional haunted house. Poe's horror is more focused on the psychological aspects of morality, so there weren't too many ghoulies or monsters to pick from. You must have read some of his more popular works, right? Obviously, the first room is the study scene from The Raven. Poe lived during the Victorian era, so we tried to make the props and scenery as accurate as possible. We used the same lighting technique as before to replicate the glow of gas lamps. We also made fake windows and used flat screens to display a gloomy movie of a graveyard at night. One of my friends helped shoot and produce the videos we used. Each window in the room displays the same scene, but from a different angle. This creates the impression of a parallax from far away, similar to the way that VR works. We also had someone from the video editing department add a few CG ravens to the movie. To replicate the scene from the poem, we added a fake door. An actor knocks on this door and triggers one of the windows to open, blowing cold air into the room. There's also a motorized raven that flies in circles around the ceiling. Next, the customers exit the study and proceed to a street scene at night. The star of this section is the murderer with the vulture eye from The Telltale Heart. There's another projector set up here to produce flashes of lightning, plus a subwoofer to create the sound of thunder. There's a space for an actor behind each of these fake doors, so they can easily lean forward for a quick scare. After passing through a stone arc, the customers enter the graveyard scene, complete with grave robbers and a few zombies, just to spice things up. You can't have graveyards without zombies. Where's the fun in that? The next zone is the final scene from the Fall of the House of Usher. There are mnemonic actuators attached to each of the foam bricks that make up every wall in this room. This causes the walls to ripple like waves, which is very effective and paired with a little strobe lighting. The last of my roommates is a mechanical engineering major, so she helped us design all of the technical effects we needed. She developed an equation to model the waves and an interface to synchronize each actuator. That about wraps it up. So, now that you've got a good idea about the two houses, which one would you prefer to act in? Really? I'm surprised you picked that one. And which part of the house would you want to be in? Figures. That is the best spot, after all. Alright. Follow me. And let's get you fit for a costume.